welcome back to my channel. It's your girl Sharon, aka the Melanin Nostalgic Runner, and we are back for another episode of the Real Housewives of Potomac, Season 8, Episode 9, and this is called Hard Conversations. And before I get started with this particular review, I am going to issue a trigger warning. This episode is the episode where a couple episodes ago with Karen, she mentions that she was going to have a PAVE event, and PAVE is an organization that helps women or people in just general. I don't think it's just women, but I think it's people in general who are survivors of SA and any situations like that, in the R word. And I'm saying it this way because it's YouTube and it's very early on in the review. But I do want to say, if this is something that really, really triggers you and you're not really ready to go into that, I would probably I will let you know when to leave the review, but you definitely do want to leave the review at a certain time because it goes into it and people are sharing their stories, and I was triggered as well because I myself am a survivor of SA. So unfortunately it's happened more than once, but yeah. Anyway, I just wanted to say that before we get into the review. And it's wild that I'm even saying that because I don't think I've shared that with others, but I'm not gonna lie, this episode was super powerful and hands down the best episode of, it's been the best episode of Potomac so far. This was easily the best episode of Potomac. And if it continues to go this direction of healing, we got a show in our hands. This to me was the first episode of Potomac, or should have been to me. This was easily the best episode. It was easily the best episode. A little bit of shade, a little bit of mess, but then we got to the serious and the ladies came together. And I just wish these ladies would always come together and it doesn't take events like this for people to come together. But, by the way, happy MLK Day. Happy MLK Day. Because I'm filming this on a Monday. I'm not sure when this will be up on YouTube. Might be later this evening or maybe Tuesday. But I just kind of wanted to say that. But anyway, the episode starts with our typical Housewives montage with Wendy and Happy Eddie recapping. Wow, I keep wanting to say Houston, Austin. And then Charisse, Giselle, and Ashley are also recapping the event, kind of stating that Robin did not have a good trip and reenacting Robin kind of losing it when she was when Karen was basically confronting her about the Juan situation. And so then from there, and also too, based off the previews, Charisse is going to be back. And I don't know if I'm mad at the capacity. Number one, I do not like Charisse. I don't. And most people don't. But I'm liking the way they're using her this season. It doesn't feel as forced. It feels a little bit more organic. So as long as they keep that kind of energy where she's there, here, and there, and they're not trying to push her being there, and also not trying to continue to push the beef between her and Karen, I'm here for it. So there's that. But anyway, speaking of Karen, we do see Karen with her husband, and they're talking about the health scare that she had with her heart, and how she's doing her part. She did share that she felt a way that Ray was not as receptive when she got the news about the small blockage that she had. And so she did share that. She was like, my feelings were hurt because Ray's been busy. He's still grinding, still, doing his thing. And he just kind of was like, oh my gosh, I'm busy. Leave me alone. I guess that's it's kind of how she made it sound like he was sounding, which I can't believe that. So, but then we go from talking about that. She goes from talking about that to talking about um, the event that she has planned coming up with PAVE, because she is the ambassador for PAVE. And I did mention at the very beginning of the video, this is an organization that helps. I think it is women. I do need to go and do my research on that because the cause is amazing, but it is to help survivors of the R word and SA and to be strong and be bosses, basically. And anyway, she's having a luncheon, and she's hopeful that this will bring the ladies together, and they'll all come together. And they do pan back in when she was talking to the ladies about the event coming up. She invited them all during the Austin trip, and we find out part of what she has for this luncheon is, or what they did was, they're donating suits, business casual clothes, to survivors so they can basically get a fresh start and become bosses. So I think this is catered more towards women because of that. So sorry, I kind of went around the mulberry bush to figure that out, but it clearly is catered towards women, or those who identify as women. There we go. Anyway, so that pretty much concludes that. Next, we have Mia and Gordon doing a cute cooking class date. Hopefully this isn't the new housewife trend, because I've noticed this is like the third housewife show where they've done this type of thing, where they do a cooking class and they're all trying to be cute. Saw it was on Real Housewives Miami, then the Ultimate Girls Trip thing. A lot of the ideas of bringing the ladies together be recycled. It's like, okay. But anyway, they're making pasta. And they also invite Robin and Juan to meet up with them. Prior to that, we see Ron on the phone talking to a coach to try to get another coaching job, basically. And then we find out through Robin's confessional that him getting another job is not working as quickly as they would hope, but they're not worried, according to Robin. And so anyway, they show up, pleasantries and all that stuff, and then they start cooking the pasta from scratch. And in this scene, we find out that Robin is actually planning on opening a franchise. It's called Glow 30. And it's like a facial studio. And something that she's used herself for a little over 15 years. So when she found out that they were going to start franchising their place, she wanted to be in on it. So this is something she's going to be starting. She also does share that it's extra important for her and Juan to diverse their portfolio, especially with everything that's happened with Juan and, she being the breadwinner. But she does say whether that have happened or not, she would have thought of doing it because, she kind of already is investing in it because she uses the product. And I really wish, side note, when they talk about these things, and I hope they follow her doing this actually, because this is something I'm a little bit more interested in. I'm sorry, I don't really care about her and Juan and that story that we know he lying about. If she's happy with sticking beside him, she can stick beside him, whatever. But I would love to know or see her build this. To me, that's more interesting to me. Because that is important to diversify your portfolio. And even the talk of that. Because, side note. So, probably about 5 or 6 years ago, that's something I've been trying to do myself. Like, I invest. And I'm not a business owner yet. That is a goal. I would love to be, an entrepreneur. I'm working on it, trying to find things that work. But my whole thing is even the idea of diversifying your portfolio. That even goes into like when you're buying stocks, crypto, any of the investment type things, one of the things that they always teach you very, very early when you're not sure what to invest in, put your money where your mouth is. Like literally, if it's something you use very, very regular, invest in that. If it's a product you truly believe in, invest in that. And so it kind of fascinated me hearing that she literally is doing just that. She's like, I use this product. I've been working with it. Like I've been getting this done for 15 plus years. I'm going to put my money where my mouth is and invest it in this way. So to me, that's how I kind of looked into it and saw that. I was like, man, I would love to know more about that. So hopefully they follow that more as the season progresses. I'm not sure how many episodes there's going to be, but I hope they go into that more. Anyway, I digress. So then Mia and Gordon are sharing their feedback about her, becoming a franchise business owner. Because that's another reason why I want to know more about it, because that is different than being your own independent business owner. I would love to know the differences. I do know from like other experiences from talking to other people, but I've never heard it from a woman's perspective on how that is. Because the only other franchise owners I know are people who are my bosses and I ask questions. But I don't really know from what is it like as a woman to do this kind of thing. So I will hopefully they share that. But anyway, but I get why she was talking to Mia and Gordon, because they used to be franchise owners too with the joint chiropractic thing. And so then they recap Austin. And Mia, she got right into it. Mia's the best and I love her. And I know the first season or two I didn't care for her, but now I'm just like, yeah, Mia's got to stay. Whatever they end up doing with this franchise, if this franchise goes left, if they can't turn it around, Mia should stay. Because love her or hate her, I know she lies. She got a little bit of a lying problem, but man, she's entertaining. I don't know what it is about her. She actually is kind of entertaining, and she's funny. And she don't try to be. She just is like that comedic relief. Like she is shady, but you don't take her seriously, so it's not something that sticks and burns. It's the fun shade that you need in Housewives. Minus what she did to Wendy. That was not cool. But like all those other things, fun. Okay, so speaking of Mia, she she couldn't help herself. So they're recapping Austin. Mia got right into it and she asked Juan directly, what happened with the hotel? She just straight up just asked him. And Juan and Robin took in the back. Robin the whole entire time just got her head down like, oh God, oh God, oh God. And she asked Juan, so, okay, he basically says the whole story about she lost her money at the casino, yada, yada. This is basically the same story that Robin's been saying. And she asked the very most honest question that anyone, including Robin, should have asked, but no one has asked, it seems like has asked her, except for she did on camera. She's like, so why couldn't you pay for this hotel over the phone? Wait, you had to do that in person? Oh, you went there in person. I was like, Mia. So the whole entire time, side note, when Juan is explaining this, he is, I could tell you're lying, because when you're replying, you stuttering. Like crazy. Stuttering. It's giving Joe. Stuttering. Like, that's what he's doing. And then Robin, oh yeah, I already mentioned that. And then Mia isn't buying it like none of us are. Like, no one believes the story. It's a lie. It's a lie and the truth ain't in it, and everybody knows it, okay? And Mia states in her confessional, she just wanted to understand the dynamic. And she was like, between her and Juan, and so now she understands it, but she's like, it's clear that they practiced that answer together because they got the same answer. AKA she ain't believing it either. And That's another thing too this season. Mia and her shade in the confessionals has been. I don't know who she hired, who she ended up talking to help her with her reads, but it's been funny. Mia is growing on me. I don't know how I feel. I mean, y'all might feel a way about it. Mia is starting to grow on me because out of everyone, she's not malicious about her things. She's shady and messy, and she lies a little bit or a lot of it. But it's funny. I'm sorry, it's funny. I can't help it. She cracks me up. Like, she just has like a natural comedic timing without trying. I don't think she tries it. I think that's just how she is. But anyway, so they go from that to talking about Mia and her losing, her and Gordon losing that attorney that stole from them. And so they bring it back where they're relating and they're cool again. I I hope Robin doesn't feel a way about Mia doing what she did there, because it was entertaining, and I hope I hope you stand 10 tones down on what you just did, Mia, because that was great. I'm not gonna lie, it was good TV. Yeah. But anyway, that does conclude the scene, though. They end up making the pasta. The pasta looks good. And that's that. So next we have Wendy with her family. Her brother's there too, and her mom. And we get to the bottom of what happened with Wendy's mom, surgery-wise. Kind of not. Child, it really wasn't. We didn't really get to the bottom of it. What Wendy's mom said was that she had elective procedure, so something that she wanted to have surgery-wise, but there was complications with that, so she had to go back. And that's what happened. So I'm guessing maybe she did like lipo or something. I don't know. I don't know what she did, but I don't even want to guess. But like, nothing was really cleared up. But anyway, Wendy's mom's fine. Long story less long. Wendy's mom is fine. She's there. And then they start talking about the whole thing with NECA. And we get into Libe and the falling out between Libe and Wendy's sister. And then Wendy's mom is very aware of the fall between Libe and her sister Ivy. So Wendy's mom is kind of explaining it further from her POV. But apparently she did kind of have had some words with Libe about how she is and whatnot, and saying we could either be friends, like really, we could either be family or enemies. And the way she talks, Wendy's mom is so extra, and we know this. We've seen this on, all the episodes she's been on the show. I hate to say this, and I don't want to. I'm not saying I believe the NECA. I don't. But the way Wendy's mom talks and the way Wendy doesn't clear anything up, the way both of them never clear things up when they're talking about certain things, especially things of confrontational things, the way they don't clear things up, they leave room for NECA's story to like actually make sense. It leaves room for someone who doesn't have the best intentions to interpret the worst, if that makes sense. So, unfortunately with this scene, this did not clear, for me, anything up. It actually kind of gave, to me, NECA's stories more legs to grow. Because even their interaction between like Wendy and her mom was kind of weird. And it gave forced. So it just makes it where it's like, Wendy, I want to be on your side when it comes to this, but you are not doing yourself any favors this season. You kind of are giving NECA some legs here to grow. I think all y'all are being like telenovela though about it. Y'all are dramaing it out, but you're dramaing it out in dangerous territory of xenophobia. But none of y'all are helping the cause out where it wouldn't go that way. I mean, NECA's the one who started that. She, brought like a freaking cannon to like a one-on-one fight. Like, just extra. But anyway, so that's how that ended. So then next we have Giselle and Grace talking about college, getting ready to go to self-defense class. This was a super fun class. They learned because they were going through the whole thing of them doing the self-defense. And I wish Giselle would just show this side of her more because I love it when she's with her daughters. It's not as boring as people like. I think she probably thinks it's boring, but it's not. Because the thing is, when she's with her daughters, and even towards the end of the episode, when she's talking about her daughters, you see the human side of Giselle. She's giving vulnerability. And I think that's what a lot of us have issues with when it comes to Giselle, including myself. I want to like her outside of some of the disgusting things she does. But it's hard for me to find redeeming qualities about her because she never shares. She's an ice queen. She kind of gives ice queen. And it's really hard to really connect with when you're watching a show, you know? So anyway, after the self-defense class, Giselle finds a way to bring Jason into the chat, literally. So she FaceTime Jason, and Grace the whole entire time's like, okay. And I'm just like, Giselle, I just really wish you would just have your storyline be your actual real life, which is your Grace going to college, and leave it at that. I'm sorry, I don't believe your whole thing with Jason. I don't at all. It looks very forced. It looks just about as forced as Larsa and Marcus Jordan. Yeah, she caused straight at a different. She caused straight at a different review. What do you want me to do? I'm sorry, but it's very similar vibes. Like, I feel like, is this going to be like? Okay, I'm just noticing there's a thing. There is actually a common theme that I've noticed when it comes to all the Real Housewives shows lately, and it started with Sheree and her mess with Nasty Martell. Why is every girl from each Real Housewives show trying to force a fake romance on the show? It's been very obvious for years you don't really truly have to be a housewife to be a housewife on this show. So quit trying to force a fake relationship on us. Please go in with us with this. That's it. That's all. Okay, so next, we see Candace in the car talking to her mom about her mammogram. And she's on her way to meeting up with Nneka. And we find out that she actually found 2 lumps like in her, breasts. And she's concerned about it. The doctors mentioned to her they're fine. She could just keep them there. And she's like, I don't really like that idea. And the thing is, that's real. Especially when it comes to the Black community and the medical world. You have to be your own advocate for that. And I think this is what Candace is going to have to figure out. She's going to have to push harder. If she really wants those lumps removed, she's going to have to push harder to get them to get removed. Because they're saying right now that there's nothing there. It might be just, lymph nodes, related to lymph nodes. And because Candace has a family history of breast cancer, she's she doesn't feel good about that answer. So her mom's like, just go get additional testing. You could just go ahead and get additional testing and see what they have to say. Because Candace is freaking out about it. And she's like, no, don't freak out about it. I don't want you to worry about it, but instead just get additional testing. And that's what you have to do. You literally have to do that. If you don't feel good about your body and someone that is not you telling you that your body's okay, but you still don't feel good about it, get a second opinion. Get a third. Get a fourth. That's just what you have to do. I don't think I've ever shared it on my channel, but I had a similar story, not when it came to a mammogram, but with the colonoscopy. I had my primary, who's on my primary, by the way. They wrote a script for me to get it, and they recommended me to this gentleman to go and get that done. And they said, no, you don't fit the criteria. And I'm like, what you mean? I have a family history of colon cancer, mind you. And I'm older than what I look. So I do meet the criteria. But leave it to, if you didn't know, you would follow just what the doctor would tell you, right? And that's the problem. And hopefully they share more of what's going on with Candace with this, because see, now to me, I feel like this episode finally starting to get to the meat and potatoes of what's really going on with these ladies and not the other stuff, because I don't really care about all this other stuff. But that's my point there, though. Hopefully we see if Candace is okay. Is she going to get that second opinion? What she's going to do there? After she gets done talking to her mom, she does meet up with Nneka, and they recap the whole entire thing about Austin and how rough that trip was, because Candace is beefing with Robin, and then Nneka is beefing with Wendy. And in the confessional, Candace shares she does want to have a friendship with Nneka, but she needs it to be, she wants to be able to have an independent friendship with Nneka and build one, but she will only do that if she can see that there's hope of them being able to move forward. And by them, she means like Wendy and Nneka. In other words, she really wants Wendy and Nneka to have a one-on-one conversation to resolve all this. And child, they should have did that from day one. But Nneka, and this is why I need to get on you, she still is stuck on the fact, like, I don't understand why Wendy's mad. And Candace had to say, you called her a bitch. Like, you led with calling her a B. And shady producers, though, they're like, you can't lead by calling people a B. That's just never the way of doing things. And then they roll the beaming footage of all the times Candace has flown off the handle and called someone a B in this group. And mind you, Candace, because her mouth be mouthing, has literally did this to every single person in this group. Mine's Nneka, because Nneka ain't been there long enough. But it's like, Candace, right message, wrong messenger. Totally wrong messenger. But anyway, Nneka shares like, oh my gosh, I do really want to be friends with Candace, but I don't know if that's going to be possible because everything is going with Wendy. And, Candace, I was glad that Candace finally just take a stance like, look, I'm loyal to Wendy. I'm like, thank God you finally, she said it without saying it here. And I'm just like, finally. I was like, girl, if you don't show some sense of loyalty, I'm going to have a hard time of bailing you out when it comes to your behavior. Because I ain't going to lie, Candace be right a lot of times, but a lot of times she be wrong too at the same time. Which is kind of common with most of the ladies in this group. Because I don't really hate anyone. But yeah, anyway. So they do end up starting talking about embryos because both of them are trying to have children. We follow Candace trying to find children with Chris last season. And Nneka's trying to do the same thing. And so because they have a lot in common, it would be nice if they would be able to build a friendship, but I do need Nneka and Wendy to have that sit down and resolve this issue that no one cares about for real because it's toxic. Like, I need y'all to get as far away from the xenophobia related stuff and move on, or at least be able to coexist. Okay. Now, from this part on of the episode, because this is kind of the last part of the episode, trigger warning. Trigger warning. So if you stuck around this long, thank you. But if you are someone that has issues or have had events of this kind of variety of SA or R word, and this is too much, I will see you next time, okay? But for the moving forward, let's finish up with the episode. So Mia is getting ready for Karen's event, and we find out that Mia has unresolved issues in relation to being SA'd. So she is definitely anxiety driven, and I don't think she's clearly not acting. She really is anxiety driven. and she's getting glammed up with Gordon talking to her about it. And Gordon looks like, extra somber too. So Mia doesn't really want to go to the event. Quiet as it's kept, and I can see, I can understand, especially if you haven't worked through those issues yet. I can understand why you would feel a way about it. But anyway, so then we fast forward to the event, and Karen's there. Giselle, of course, is there first. Giselle is always the first one at any event. She's very much prompt or on time. A lot of times early. She's usually like there as they're setting up. But anyway, so Karen, and side note, I am loving that Giselle and Karen are getting along right now. That to me is great. I love it. And they take a moment to pray that everyone gets along and no mess at this event. And I was thinking the same thing. Please do not make a mockery of this type of event. Like, child, I can't. But then it flashes back to when Giselle indeed tried to make a mockery of this type of event. Jesus. So, because Karen has been part of Pay for some time now, and there was an episode, I think it was season 3. It was one of the earlier seasons. I'm pretty sure it was season 3, where Giselle tried to confront Karen about some things at a PAVE event, and Karen escorted her out expeditiously. Like, it didn't even go anywhere. Like, they didn't even get to get into the party. And so Giselle is recapping, like, please don't mess up the event, because she's like, she will kick you out in a hurry. She's like, she's not playing this. When it comes to this type of thing, she doesn't play. And I would understand why. Like, this is not that, But anyway, so all the ladies show up and show out. Everyone brings, like, their items for the event. And so Karen takes the floor and explains what PAVE is and the cause, because she is the ambassador. And then from there, the founder, Angela, she does have a essay survivor, do a live performance, a musician. And she shares her story first before she goes on. She doesn't go into detail like that, but she's like, yeah, I'm a survivor, and I found that music is my therapy. And so she proceeds to sing this beautiful song. And yeah, it gets real emotional real quick. So I'm not going to hold you. I was able to hold it together for a little bit during this particular piece, but then when Mia shared her personal story, that's when I was done, because she's had an event that I had a similar event happen. So it was very... Anyway. So let me go into it. Robin shares her story being a teenager and not being able to, give consent, because that is a thing. Society-wise, especially if you're a kid, 80s kid or 90s kid or any time before that, the talk of, of sexual activities when you're a teenager, especially when if you're a teenager who's with someone who's older, that's not okay. I don't even care if your parents give consent. That's not okay, because you as an individual is not allowed to give consent. And when you think of it that way, it's one of those things that's just never okay. And it's like, when you don't think about that when you're younger, but when you get older, you think about that. Because I even had a similar situation when I was younger, in my teens. I was an adult. I was like 18, 19, but the key word, I was still a teen. My brain was not fully developed yet. I was dating a much older man. And that's never, it's never the move. But anyway, so Robin shared that. And Candace shared her experience too. Not neither, and these are all, and all of them are sharing their things individually in the confessionals. So not in person, like not at the event. Mia's the only one who kind of shared, but not with everyone. And I'll get into that in a little bit. And then Wendy shares that, she has friends that has dealt with that. She personally has not. And that's very fortunate of you. That's awesome. And then Giselle shares that she hates how common this is because it is so common. It's so common. But she wants to do what she can to keep her daughters safe. And I get that. And Ashley shares her story. And it was a family member who was doing things with her. And, And when you really think of things like this and when you see things, and it explains a lot of people's behaviors on these shows, including Ashley. We kind of already knew, for those who've been watching this show, we kind of already knew Ashley had a lot of things that went on trauma related in her life, and that's why she kind of acts the way she does. But yeah, I don't even want to go further into it. But anyway, so the whole time during this performance, Mia and Karen are hugging each other so tight. They both are emotional. And you can tell they're both are triggered because Karen has also shared she's a survivor. She had things have happened with her too. And Mia, she gets to the point where she can't take it anymore and she excuses herself from the table. And so she goes into the restroom. She's breaking down. We don't see her breaking down, but we can hear it on the mic. And Ashley does eventually go and follow her and console her. And Mia shares exactly what happened to her. And to tie it all together, for those who watched last season, and you know how her and Jacqueline had that weird kind of friendship, she was there when things happened. Actually, it was Jacqueline's ex-boyfriend who basically argued her when Jacqueline left. And they were teens, so I think they're only 15 or whatever. So that's what happened there. And it's not Jacqueline's fault. Jacqueline, of course, was scared for her friend, took her friend's side immediately, did all the things, right? But it triggered her. So Mia explains this is why she is mean. She basically explains subconsciously she thinks this is why she's so mean to Jacqueline. She doesn't blame her or anything for it, but because she hasn't really resolved what happened there, and the fact she was there, it just messes with her in the worst way possible. And this was triggering. I actually had to stop watching this and walk away for a little bit, pause it, and come back. Because for those who really, really know me, I have a very similar experience that occurred when I was 19 with one of my friends. And I'm still friends with her to this day, but I was the Jacqueline and she was the Mia. So it's hard to watch. So, and also have my own story where things have happened with me, just myself, and being essayed. So this episode was super powerful, but man, it was hard to watch because I have my own triggers with that. And you think you're over those things, but then when you rewatch certain things, you're not over it. It's one of those things that Wendy even said in her confessional when she was talking about her friends. It's really something you never get over. It kind of makes you who you are. So, yeah, this was hard to watch. But after the performance was over with, Candace and Wendy, they actually go and talk to Mia to make sure she's okay and she's fine. And while that's happening, Giselle goes to Angela, who's the founder, and asks for advice on advice for Grace, because she's going to college. Because that's another thing. These type of things, SAs and like R words, it happens a lot in college. It happens a lot during that time. It's one of those things I would love for it to be spoken about more, but especially when you're going away to college on the campus. Yep. But Angela does explain explain to Giselle, like, hey, she shouldn't live in fear, but if she feels in her gut something's not right, you need to listen to that. And yeah. But clearly this event was a success. Everyone came together. Everyone put their beef aside. And Karen did that. And it really was a powerful event. Like, what I just shared just now, I don't think I've really shared that. I don't talk about that. Like, it is one of those things when it happens, you don't talk about it. And I'm loving that all three of the Housewives shows I've been watching, that minus, Salt Lake City, because that, is in reunion time, but everything else is still actively filming. I'm loving that they all are tackling these serious topics that really happen very regularly. It's very normal, unfortunately. And because of that, I get to speak about it. And I also kind of, in a weird way, therapeutically get to release some of the things I've had that happen to me, And that's why I like shows like this. I like reality TV for that reason. Like, you get silly and fun, but sometimes you gotta get real. Sometimes you have to, come to terms with certain things that's happened. Like, as long as it's not this every episode, because child, reliving trauma every single episode would be a lot. But yeah, this was a very powerful episode. Karen, you did that. You did that. But yeah, so that does conclude this episode. I did see the preview for next week, and Potomac looks like it's about to make a turnaround. I'm hopeful. I'm glad I stayed on the train. I was trying to hop off that train, but I'm glad I stayed on the train because it definitely does look like Potomac is turning a corner. Charisse is in the next episode, but she's talking to Mia about Jacqueline. So, for those who saw last episode, or not last episode, but last season, Mia's best friend and her, because Jacqueline was her best friend, the one that was even part of that story that she shared. That was her best friend, like her childhood best friend. And they had a huge falling out last season. So, I'm hoping we get to see them resolve that, because as much as Mia be lying and she got her issues, I do like her. I like her on my screen. I also like Jacqueline. I wanted to know more about Jacqueline, but then the way they fell out was just so bad. But it looks like from the preview for the next episode, we're going to see that gets resolved. So, and I really want that to get resolved, because you don't want real friendships to get ruined because of a reality show now. And then something else gets brought up too, and I don't remember what the other thing is, but it looks like things are finally coming together. All they had to do is get out Austin. Sorry, I had to make a joke at the end because I didn't want to end on a somber note, but they had to get out of Austin though. The fact that they were in Austin for most of the season, again, don't ever do that again. Okay, guys? Don't ever do it again. But anyway, that does conclude the review. For those who are able to stick around through the whole review, I appreciate that. Thank you. And, these are tough topics, but they do need to be talked about, because that is one way to prevent future victims from, future people from becoming victims, is actually speaking about it and taking your power back, which is what PAVE is about, taking your power back. And yeah. Please like, comment, subscribe to the channel if you get anything out of the content. It's your girl Sharon, aka the Melanin Nostalgic Runner. And I will see you next time. Bye.